outside of the obligation. The 28th of September, 2024. To return to a place where you are known to be a psycho or a mentally unstable person. It is awkward when you are called mentally ill when you are not mentally ill. It is in a way a means by which some people defend themselves by calling people down and using mental status as a weapon, in essence, demonizing the issue. There is a difference between being mentally ill and being called mentally ill. It is not the situation of being mentally ill that provokes fear in some people. Thus, they would desire that their children not be called that. It is what other mentally ill people have done in their lives. If a person was a survivor of domestic abuse, then it is no wonder that they would fear having a child with mental conditions. It is likely, but not highly likely, that they would inherit the habits of their parents. If mental condition was a result of domestic abuse, on the other hand, then the person is always right in whichever way they would defend themselves against the probability of having the cycle repeat with the children. It is unfortunate that some family issues, rather than being inherited, were learned by seeing parents do them in front of the children. This is one of the reasons why children would be sent to their room when one of the parents realizes that they were going to have an argument. She locked the door. Sometimes anger is considered a weapon rather than an issue. There are many times that being angry is also regulated by knowing key points about the state of anger. When a person gets angry, they are more inclined to being tempted. They would be sent devils to tempt them and to try and make them even think that they know a lot. Sometimes a devil would whisper to a person, "You are not good enough," or would cause the person to say, "I am not good enough," devaluing themselves and causing them to think lowly of themselves rather than give themselves their due credit. The audacity they would have to claim that they had not caused any person to be sick or mentally unstable. It is not mental instability that the world suffers from. It is lack of knowledge in the ways of the unseen, causing people to have false beliefs about themselves and the world around them. It is no wonder that some people had relayed mental issues to medication alone. If you have such and such an issue, use medication prescribed to you by a doctor. But what if doctors are only a part of the consumerism mentality, who are materialists rather than those who fear God because of knowledge? What if being prescribed a medicine only works to feed into the consumerism society? God did give every illness a prescribed way of remedy, but this means that every remedy exists in nature. God would not burden any soul with more than it could bear. But this also means that even illnesses have their solution in the world, without the need to rely on chemicals and doctors' prescribed medication. If we take our vitamins from pills, then it is natural that we would not need to eat food. Therefore, why waste money on buying more and more food and fruits? It is like demons also have jealousy, that humans eat fruit and they do not. But it can also mean that spending too much money on things, food and medication, warrants being sent devils. God does not like those who waste things. When you start to fear someone because you think they are mentally unstable, this fear is warranted. If the person fears God, he wouldn't do anything to harm. If the person does not, he would be inclined to break things. This is an essential part of the demonic influence on people, breaking things. They would also encourage them to attack their own self-esteem, make a mockery of themselves in severe cases, where you would see people walking down the street naked or making a scene in public space. Raising one's voice is an impulse that is often associated with the devil, causing a ruckus, alerting other people to the scene as a way of showing off. This act is associated with a demon who would cause people to show off in front of other people. It is that of the sin of pride. It has always been associated with demons because they had always caused them. There is also a sin that is associated with the feeling, who knows better than me, which is the sin of the majority of our society. Those who think that they know everything. They give it an excuse of having the ability to search everything online and finding the answer. The only mistake they make by claiming that claim is because they think that the information they find online is truthful. If they were truthful, then anyone who would be synthetically enhanced would be able to answer truthfully about any matter that he is asked, which is not possible. We all make mistakes. Those of us who let their mistakes rule their lives, making them behave certain ways as a response and a counter to how they had been treated in their past, would be making another mistake. We have to be able to learn from our mistakes so that we do not repeat them again, or better yet, we must learn from our mistakes in how the mistake was made and the process that led to it. It is like demons are constantly having cases against people. They are constantly blaming them and making them remember their past by giving them the redundant question that should not even be asked because, why would they ask if people will not even hear their question? They would ask the person constantly, however, do you take this thing that happened to you in the past as a lifeline to become a better person? Will you use it against the perpetrator? Or will you use it as an excuse to grow even more wicked? It is a long question, but it is a constant question that rules most decisions that are made throughout our lives. Thinking that a person merits anything is contested, even in the book of Job. وَمَنْ أُوتِيَ الْحِكْمَةَ فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا لن تكون هناك عاصمة للخلافة الأخيرة في آخر الزمان إلا بيت المقدس. تبدأ الخلافة بيوم التحرير وتنتهي الخلافة برفع السيد المسيح، بقبض السيد المسيح، بموت السيد المسيح عليه الصلاة والسلام. فإذا مات السيد المسيح عليه السلام وموته بعد موت المهدي، إذا مات السيد المسيح عليه السلام بعث الله ريحا لا تدع نفسا مؤمنة على الأرض إلا قبضتها حتى لا يبقى على الأرض إلا شرار الخلق، لا تقام فيهم صلاة ولا يرفع عليهم أذان، عليهم تقوم الساعة. The rapture where people would also ascend is very plausible. In your mind, in my understanding, I am not. The conditions are formed. They are outside of obligation. You can't determine your conditions. The human conditions are the will of God being formed through the person's being. You are willed to be what you are at that specific time frame. Therefore, you have taken the image or condition that you are able to have due to your surroundings. The condition that a person has, the mental condition, spiritual condition, and the psychological condition that they have is not the same. It can be whatever God wants it to be. The tonality of certain people is also governed by their own conditions, which are outside of the obligation. I'm not a narcissist. I was called a narcissist, but I'm not. If it's meant to be, it will be. That is, being in the will.